Years before the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade, Tennessee lawmakers had a plan in place to ban abortion.
It was called a trigger law, and it takes effect tomorrow. Good evening, I'm Rory Johnston.
And I'm Vicki Yates. The trigger law blocks abortions in Tennessee, and doctors could go to prison if they perform one.
News Channel 5's Alexandra Cohen is taking a closer look at the law's language. And when we say this, there are no exceptions in this, right?
That's right, according to a technicality with how the law is written. And as you said, doctors could be arrested and charged. The only way to stay out of prison would be to convince a jury they did it to save the life of the mother. Abortion rights supporters like Gail Geeter are livid about the state's ban.
We will not let up. We will not be quiet.
She says Tennessee's trigger law will impact minority communities the most.
Do you know how many black women walk into hospitals and do not walk back out? Black women tend to be the heads of households. So we have households falling apart because of a racist healthcare system.
Dr. Amy Bono is with the group Protect My Care. They believe that banning abortion will be bad for doctors and their patients.
And when things are this extreme, there is no room for grace. And to me, that feels wrong.
She says some doctors now feel they have a target on their backs.
I'm confused about the legislative intent here in Tennessee. Because the reality is that patients are scared. Doctors are scared.
There's been some confusion over just what the new law does. So we went to ask attorney David Rabin. He's advising doctors not to perform an abortion unless they can prove they did it to save the mother's life.
This is not an exception. This is an affirmative defense that the doctor has to prove to the satisfaction of the jury by a preponderance of the evidence.
If convicted, doctors face 3 to 6 years in prison, and they would likely lose their license.
Under the law, you're eligible for probation, I suppose, but who the heck wants to be a convicted felon for the rest of their life for doing this?
Tennessee Right to Life is a pro-life group.
Tennesseans have been waiting nearly 50 years.
Their next step is making sure the trigger ban is enforced.
That little one is just as much human as you or I are. And so, no, we would not support an exception for rape.
Meanwhile, Gail is worried about women and their reproductive health.
I believe that abortion banning is the tip of the iceberg. As a black woman that chose to have children and almost died to have children, I have been a victim of a racist healthcare system, and I understand what this means for women of color.
Rory, Vicki, some lawmakers want to introduce next session a bill that would basically make an exception for rape and incest.
So would the pro-life group support that?
She told me over that Zoom interview, no, they would not.
Wow. Clearly, this issue isn't over. We'll keep tracking it. Thanks, Alexandra.